Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you connecting in with us today as we are beginning April together. And it's a wonderful time of year to just stop for a moment and check in. I always like to look at April showers bring May flowers. And so it's a great time to look at perhaps challenges that we may be having and how do we navigate those showers and storms in life, not just to survive, but thrive. And some of the areas I find sometimes we can come up against ourselves or come up against challenges or feel like a curveball has come into our life can be in our finances. It can be around our health, and it can be around how we're approaching things and looking at things, kind of our mindset of how we're navigating the waters. And so today we have three amazing experts that are going to support us in how to navigate these waters, how to powerfully lean into our success and not just survive, but thrive. I always want us to take it to that next level and purposely, mindfully lean into building our success every decision, every day at a time, because the choices that we make, how we approach things, builds our future. So every day we have choices we're making. We have opportunities to bring forward those things that matter most. And those decisions day by day add up to our week, our month, and our future that we're building one step at a time. So it's important to check in and just look at how are we building towards our success? How are we thriving as we're doing that? And it's very important as we're looking at that to consider how are we defining success? I find one thing that can happen is we can let other people define success for us, or we've never stopped, paused, and checked in at what success means to us. How would we recognize that we were successful, that we are successful? What are the indicators that we're moving along powerfully closer to how we're defining success? So I want to encourage everyone to take a moment and just kind of feel into how are you looking at success? How are you defining it? And perhaps you haven't looked at it, or you haven't looked at it for a while. This is a great opportunity to check in, particularly as we're looking at thriving, not just surviving. How will we recognize that, particularly in the areas of finance, our health, and how we are being in our life? Those of you who are driving, I want to encourage you to stay safe, keep both hands on the wheel, just inwardly tuning in, being fully present so you can get the most out of our time together today. Those of you who are able to, though, I want to encourage you to put both feet on the floor. Feel it supporting you. Your back against the back of the chair. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head, bringing you all in, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth like through a straw. Take another breath in. See how big you can make your belly? Close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Keep breathing. That's important. It brings oxygen to every cell in your body, which helps us have clarity and have energy and make great choices. So being fully present, it's important to have oxygen throughout our body. Also, this kind of breathing helps bring us present, lowers our stress levels, our cortisol levels, so we can be fully here to receive everything that is here for you today. Beautiful. Keep breathing. And in this space, I want to take just a moment and check in and see, what is it that you need today? What is it that will encourage you, support you? Perhaps you are in the midst of a storm. What is it that you need? Are you surviving and you're wanting to take it to that next level of thriving, what is it that you need to support you, empower you, and help you create success in your life and in your business? What is it that you need and are willing to receive? Because you have choice. So what is it that you need and are willing to receive? Beautiful. Feel into that information. Wonderful. Take one more breath. So you receive that beautiful information of what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Beautiful. Come back into the room, fully present, eyes open, and take a moment to write that down. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life or get distracted and miss what is right before us that can help us meet that need. So make sure that we're actively on the lookout. Let's get that down on paper, make a note of it so you are ready to receive. And I'm going to encourage you to be unattached to how. In fact, be open to being surprised at the wonderful and unexpected way that need gets met. Beautiful. Take another breath as we lift up each other's needs that have now been identified and looking into supporting every one of us receiving exactly what it is that we need today. Beautiful. And with that, we're going to go around our virtual room here and connect in with each of our amazing guests to see what was laid on their heart. And I'm going to have each guest share just 15 seconds, 20 seconds, something that was laid on their heart when they took a moment to stop, pause, listen, and feel in. And with that, Robert, I'd love to have you share what was laid on your heart.
I think it's God's message to be able to do the best you can each and every day and to believe in Him, and then leave it at that.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Elizabeth, how about you? What was laid on your heart?
I need to have patience with myself, and I need to have patience with my growth as far as me personally and in my business. Just taking the time to understand that growth is hard and it takes time, and you have to be patient.
And that patience can be so hard because some of how we get that patience is that waiting part. But beautiful.
Yes.
We lift that up. Thank you. And Paul, what about you? What was laid on your heart?
Oh, for me, it's all about perspective. It's how we see things. And Dr. Wayne Dyer was, of course, famous for saying, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So how to change your life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And do you mind saying that just one more time?
Yes, it's Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes. Beautiful. I just want to give everyone a moment to let that sink in. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Our perspective is so important and so powerful. Oh, as we get ready to go into our first commercial break here, listeners, I want to give you a moment to think about what's being laid on your heart and spirit, what it is that, as you stopped and listened for a moment, was really pressed upon you to sink into a little bit more, or to reflect on, or receive, or identify what it is that you need, and fold in the beautiful shares that our guests shared with you, and see how that adds into that beautiful mixture. As we go into this first commercial break, secretly it's 2 minutes just for you. As those powerful commercials play in the background, sharing updates and information we want you to know, I want to encourage you to stay present. Give yourself the gift of these 2 minutes to process what's being laid on your heart and on your spirit. And when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Be sure to friend us on Facebook. You can do it right now. Visit facebook.com/Voice America or search for us at keyword Voice America.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
We don't follow, we lead. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes just for you, an opportunity to stop, pause, breathe, and reflect. It's so important to do that. We forget in the busyness of life sometimes. As we continue our conversation, we're going to dig into how do we move through some of or look at how we're looking at things because that affects so much around us. How are we perceiving the world around us? How are we choosing to be in it so that we can thrive, that we can move powerfully forward into how we are defining success purposely and powerfully? And our amazing guest that's going to help us with this, his name is Paul Levin, and I want to share a little bit about him. He is an author, a speaker, an emotional breakthrough mentor, certified hypnotherapist, certified NLP practitioner, and creator of the Super Conscious Reality Shifting Program. He is passionate about helping you break through to your success. Please lean in and warmly welcome the amazing Paul Levin to the show. Welcome!
Yay. I feel like I should come running up on stage.
That's right. That's the perfect energy. You are welcome to the stage. Glad to have you here today. Well, and I'd love to start the conversation with why. Why is this work that you do helping people shift through some of those things that can block them or can be affecting how they perceive the world in not an ideal way? Why is that work so powerful and important to you?
Okay. Wow. It's so powerful and important to me because of the change that has occurred in my own life. Truthfully, honestly, I even have evidence going back to when I was 5 years old that I was not a happy child. Photographs of kindergarten class. And through the years, there's all kinds of things that basically, to sum it all up, I would have said my life sucked. And in my 50s, I decided enough was enough, and I would change absolutely everything. And I did. And because at that time I was an engineer, so I did it as an engineer, which means that I could document the steps and put it all into order like that. And I took
reverse engineer everything. Yep.
Well, yes, that's exactly what I did. And and I took what took me 2 to 3 years to get to. I put it into 12 weeks.
Wow. And this is how you are now walking beside others and helping them shift into being more of who they want to be and how they want to be in the world. Is that a fair summary?
Absolutely. Look at children. Look at little children. Mm-hmm. I have 2 little children who live right across the street from me. They're adorable. And when I watch them play, there's no hesitation. There's no fears. They state what they want, and if they don't get it, they state that they're not happy about that. And then they move right on after that. There's no, they don't get stuck in anything. If only we lived our lives like children.
Yes, there's so much we can learn from them. And I love that, not getting stuck, expressing the emotion or feeling, and then moving forward. And there's so much we can learn. And I think you're right. We get stuck. We look back sometimes and we're bringing all that stuff forward that perhaps isn't serving. And instead we can release it and move forward in the areas that matter to us. Can you share a little bit of how we can start that process, and how does this empower us by being able to reflect and look at things a little bit more like children do? There's some valuable lessons there.
Let me offer to your listeners a resource that is my number one resource, and that is Abraham Hicks. And just if you were to Google Abraham and the last name Hicks, Hicks, the most amazing teacher, and I won't take up your time describing anything about Abraham, just the most fantastic thing. That's how you can get started. Now, if you want an entire program that will take you from wherever you are right now to manifestor consciousness, where you are creating your reality, I can help you with that. Why does this empower women?
Is there a tip you can give us, like a tip that we can just somewhere that we can even check in and see if there are things that we might be stuck in? Because I think sometimes we're not even aware. So there's a way that we can check in and see?
Honestly, the truth is, as adults, as anyone past, say, about the age of 7, we're all stuck.
Okay.
And
that's how it is.
Once, I'm sorry?
So there are all areas basically that we'll come up against. Is there a way that we can start identifying that so we even know what to look for and maybe want to get some support or help?
The key to that is to be observant. If you, and there's exercises that I teach that develop that, but you want to be observant of your own behaviors. And have you ever said, why did I do that? There you go. There's a key. Have you ever done something, acted in a response to some stimuli, and then after you've acted, you say, why did I behave that way? That's a program playing in your mind. That's not you. And that's what we dig up. We find those programs. I teach you a very concise method for finding them, replacing them, and moving on, so that you're not playing that old program from when you were a child that you needed to play back then. You're now playing a new program that gets you what you want today.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Great. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that, because sometimes we don't even know where to start, and being able to identify some of those things and recognize, this might be an area I'm stuck in, or I'm coming up against, or I'm getting hijacked in. And that's a great question to ask. Why did I do that? And that's a great way to start identifying some of those spaces so that we can lean in and get support and help. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
As we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I want to encourage our listeners to take a moment to stop, pause, and think about what's being laid upon your heart. Maybe you've had one of those experiences recently of, why did I do that? And it's great to lean in, not with judgment or criticism, but recognizing maybe there's something going on there that is old programming that perhaps could be replaced with something that serves. Towards the end of the show, we're going to let you know how to stay in touch with all of our amazing guests, so please know that is coming. But I want you to have a moment to stop, pause, and integrate and listen to what's being placed on your heart and your spirit. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Think you've seen everything there is to see in online television? Let us surprise you. Visit voiceamerica.tv today for sports, health, business, and more on demand 24/7.
H2 Open Doors is a project of Rotary Clubs worldwide that wants to help the poor help themselves. These are water enterprises run by the people that support the social services of villages and schools. It's a much better way to go than by giving continual and endless donations. Let's support self-reliance and human dignity instead of generational poverty. You can learn more about H2 Open Doors and how to make a difference. Just visit h2opendoors.org. That's H, the number 2, opendoors.org.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Change starts here. Change starts now. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes and had the opportunity to stop, pause, and think about what was being spoken into your heart and to your spirit from what Paul was sharing with us. It's great to stop, pause, and check in. And as we continue our conversation, we're going to talk with our next amazing expert in the area of health and curveballs. You know, how are we dealing with those unexpected things? Are we taking ownership, or how are we dealing with a health challenge or something that comes our way that's a curveball in life? And Elizabeth is an expert at navigating those waters. So let me share a little bit about her. Elizabeth is a naturopath, motivational speaker, international best-selling author. She has overcome and survived, and these are just a few highlights, but to give you a feel, is that she has overcome childhood abuse, being chronically ill, disabled and bedridden for 12 years. Not 12 days, not 12 months, 12 years, and has risen up again to travel, speak, and serve powerfully. She is passionate about helping you overcome and thrive no matter what curveballs life throws your way. So let's lean in and warmly welcome the amazing Elizabeth Clamon to the show. Welcome!
Wow! I hear the audience going wild.
Yay!
Thank you.
Exactly. I'm glad you could feel that. I could too. Oh, welcome. And Elizabeth, I'd love for you to share. Absolutely. I'd love for you to share why this work is so important to you, really helping people to thrive no matter what, overcome those curveballs in life. Why is that personally so important to you?
It's personally important to me because I have had to overcome so much myself, and I see so many people stuck where they're at in that mindset of this is just how it's going to be. And for me, especially like when I was going through that 12 years and seeing doctors and everything, and they would say, well, you're just going to have to learn to lift from bed, and you're just going to have to do this. And I'd say, that is not okay. And so I don't want to see anybody say it's okay to live where you're stuck. We all come up against obstacles, be it divorce, the loss of a child, financial, physical health issues. Everybody has obstacles they have to come up against. But we get to choose how we deal with those and how we move forward.
Beautiful. And I can feel that fire in your belly, that passion for it. And you've absolutely walked that talk of facing incredible challenges and choosing what your path is going to be, choosing your response to that. And I just think that's beautiful and powerful and inspiring. And can you share a little bit about what naturopathic medicine is and what led you into learning more about that?
Naturopathic medicine is just the study and the practice of natural healing, herbs, supplements, chiropractic, massage therapy. We just kind of have a good overview of a little bit of everything in the natural health world, even essential oils, and it's supporting the body and helping the body intuitively heal itself. And I started down that path actually as a small child on our family farm, working with my grandmother when we would have natural remedies and things from the garden, and we ate whole foods and organically homegrown foods. And I just got a passion for that then that I tapped back into in my 30s when I went through this crisis of overcoming my childhood traumas and having to walk myself through healing mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so I tapped into that, and I was able to walk myself through that and heal so that I could come back. And so it's just always been a passion and a drive as long as I can remember.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's really interesting about not just this mindset of choosing your response, but you're taking some really practical, natural steps around health as well to help you overcome obstacles and curveballs in life and help you on your healing journey. I think that's really powerful that you have brought both of those pieces together. And I just don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add and for our listeners today around how we can weave those pieces together, the mindset as well as some practical steps to help us overcome obstacles and challenges.
Yeah, I love how you keep using that curveball. That's kind of my signature thing is those curveballs in life that come at you, and you have to decide how you're going to respond to that. And sometimes it takes a little while. That 12 years probably could have been shorter if I had changed my mindset, but I had to come to a crisis moment where I decided I'm not going to live this way anymore. This is not okay. And something that, I want people to really understand is you have to work on your beliefs. You've got to work on what do you believe. And for the longest time, I believed what my parents had said. I believed what the people who raised me had said. And that was not the truth. And then after my recovery from our car accident, I believed that that's where I was going to be stuck. And I came to a moment where I had to change my mindset and say, this is not okay. This is not how I'm going to live anymore. I have the knowledge, I have the choice, and I have the power to make a change. And I sat down and I made a plan, and I worked that plan every day. And that's what I encourage people to do, and that's what I do with my clients. I help them make a plan, and then I encourage them along the path of working that plan to get towards healing and health.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I know we had the opportunity to meet last week and spend some time together, and I appreciated how practical some of the ways you approach this, but that we can't do it for them. They've got to be willing. Clients have to be willing to take the steps and make those choices. And one of the statements you shared with me was about how you started getting out of bed after 12 years of being bedridden. And you said, I would sit up for this amount of time, and then I would lay down for the rest of the day. And the next day I would do that again, or I'd do a couple minutes more, like it's step by step. And you really walk that talk. And I'd love for you, just because it can feel daunting to shift and make some of these changes that we want in our life, what would you say to that person that, okay, this is not what I want anymore. I want to move forward. I want that plan, but they're a little bit scared about the steps. So what would you say to them?
I would say you have to just start small. And the way I try to think about it and talk to clients about it is starting with baby steps. If you think about a baby, they don't start out running. They roll over, and then they crawl, and then they pull up, and then they fall. Some days you might get up, and then you fall back down, but you have to do instant, small steps to get to where you want. And I did. I got up out of the bed, and I sat in the chair for 30 minutes. And then if I could add 5 minutes, I added 5 minutes. And I did the same thing, and I get on an exercise bike for 5 minutes or for 3 minutes or 1 minute. Anything you do is progress. You have to start somewhere, and then everything you do, you have to give yourself kudos for, hey, I did that. I made that step. And then the next day you can take another small step until you get to where you want to be. And it didn't happen overnight. This has been a 2-year process of coming back. And when I was out with you last week in California was the first time I have driven more than just a few miles from my home in a really long time. And so that was a huge step for me. And every step you take empowers you to take the next step.
Exactly. And every step counts. I love that importance of celebrating. And I know by the end of the week that we got to have that time together, you were driving around more and more and more. You were getting to really know that area, which is wonderful.
I was getting braver and braver by the minute.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and that reminding us that small steps count, and we break it into those small steps and to celebrate all along the way. That's important to encourage ourselves, and all those steps can add up to where we're trying to go. Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
If you make a plan, you can check those things off so that you can give yourself a gold star every time you get another gold star.
And we love gold stars. You can get those little stickers.
Yes,
beautiful.
You do.
On your charts. I love it. Thank you. So listeners, as we get ready to go to our next commercial break here, I want you to think about where you are and perhaps where you're wanting to go, that you're identifying as moving closer to thriving and to your success. A couple of those baby steps, and how you want to maybe take a step and celebrate that, whether it's a gold star or some other way you want to acknowledge and celebrate that. But taking a moment to think about what are a couple of steps you can identify and one that you could actually take today. And with that, we'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN. Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
We don't follow, we lead. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes. You had an opportunity to think about some of those next steps and celebrating along the way to encourage yourself as you're taking step by step to go where you want to go, to lean into that powerful success you're wanting in your life, that each of those steps lead you in that direction. And one of the areas I find that we can come up against some edges in ourselves, we can come up against how we're defining success in our life, is our finances. And isn't it wonderful to be able to have someone that we can ask questions of and we can get support around how we're looking at money and what are the options out there and how do I even approach this to go where I want to go in that space, particularly if you're wanting to go somewhere you haven't been before in your financial picture. So we have an amazing guest that is joining us today that's going to help us with this. His name is Robert Goldsmith. He is a financial advisor for over 30 years now, actually starting back in 1978. His financial experience started. So he has a wide reach and breadth and experience that he's bringing to the table to support us today. He is a money and life experience coach, 3 times best-selling author, motivational speaker, stand-up comedian, and I know he can sing as well. So he has a wide range of talents he's bringing to the table. He has been featured in the Los Angeles Daily News, CNN, Fox, and NBC. He's absolutely passionate about helping you have a powerful resource that you can trust in the financial industry. Please lean in and warmly welcome the amazing and powerful and dynamic Robert Goldsmith to the show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on, Rebecca.
Thrilled to have you here. I'm glad you could join us today. I'm glad. Wonderful. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about why this work in the financial industry, really creating powerful resources and information to walk beside people in a trusted way. Why is that work so important to you?
Well, long story short is that when I was just a kid, my dad passed away at 17. I was 17 years old, rather. And he left my mom literally with no financial plan. There was no life insurance in force. And we had a home that had a $300 mortgage payment that she had to sell. Lo and behold, it was divine intervention, I think, that God said that I was supposed to be on a path to make sure that other folks didn't suffer the way our family did, and that's been my lifelong work at this point.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes I think we can look at financial advisors and see them in a certain way, and it's so powerful to know your why and how personal this work is to you, that you're really on a mission to help people not suffer in that way and to be empowered and have plans and be able to move forward in ways that make sense for them. So what's one of the greatest challenges you see if we're looking today at the world of finance and people navigating through it? One of the greatest challenges you see that consumers are facing today?
You know, frankly, I think the number one challenge is too much information. And what I mean by that is the internet has changed the world dramatically, where there are so many individuals that are trying to sell product. And so by default, they put information that can be either pro or con about their product or pro or con about another product. And then people get so overwhelmed by so much information that they have to take a step back. And what that leads to is procrastination. And by default, nothing ever gets done. So I think the information world has actually messed with the minds of consumers, and then they don't trust financial advisors because someone said, oh, this is what you should be doing, and it sounds too good to be true. And you know that old saying that says if it's too good to be true, it probably is, when in reality it can be some of the greatest assets to you, but because of misinformation or somebody in the next cubbyhole who has no experience whatsoever is guiding you in the wrong direction, you end up losing out and missing out, and what you don't know can't hurt you actually becomes what you don't know can hurt you.
Exactly. And I think there's so much information out there. It's also hard to navigate through what is, we put it all sometimes on equal footing. And just like you were saying, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we need some support to navigate through what is really important for our particular situation, can help us, and what we want to consider in that versus just everything out there that may be accurately represented or may not accurately be represented. So what would you share with a consumer that maybe is feeling a little bit of that overwhelm, not sure where to start? What are some advice or tips that you would give them?
Great question. And let's start with the fact that a lot of people think they don't have enough assets or money, if you will, to be able to employ or warrant the services of a financial planner or a professional. When in reality, they really do need it. In fact, the person that needs it the most can sometimes be the person who has nothing going for them. Do they need to learn how they feel about money? Do they need to understand how they should be managing their money? Are they influenced by other people? You know that old cliche about keeping up with the Joneses or buying, products like expensive cars you're using to impress somebody you don't even like. And so what we want to do is we want to kind of steer them on the right path towards, hey, let's start with where you are right now, because that's your financial GPS. In other words, your GPS in theory cannot tell you how to get where you need to go until it knows where you are. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at where somebody is, look at their financial situation, and then say, where do you want to be? And let me show you how to get there. And the biggest misconception is people don't realize that the products that are out there can do multiple things. And let me give you an interesting analogy. If somebody drops a cell phone into water, they use rice as a means to dry it up, right? If you need, for example, to remove acid off your car battery, you'll use baking soda initially designed for baking in water. So those things have different functions. Well, a lot of the products, like simple things like life insurance, can be one of the greatest assets people have, but because of its connotation as I got to die to collect, makes it sound so negative, that people have a misconception of how life insurance can actually be the greatest asset you'll ever own if you understand how to use it properly. Annuities can have great value where people don't understand that if I want an income I can never outlive, the only product outside of your pension and Social Security that does that with your money is an annuity. So people need to understand where that fits into your mindset. Then how do I accumulate cash? Because a lot of people think, do I go to mutual funds or investments? And yes and no, because everything has both a pro and a con, and they've got to understand the parameters that work. That's why DIY in your financial plan is probably not a good plan.
Thank you for sharing that and just giving a couple of ways we can expand our view and how we're looking at things. I love that bringing that awareness that one thing can do more than one thing for people. And one of the big fears I hear out there is I don't have enough, or I need to get my financial stuff in order before I go and get help from an expert. So I love that you have shared that you don't need to do that. You can start today in getting support and build to where you want to go. But it's really important to understand where you're at. And then I think it's wise to lean in and get support from an expert that can help you navigate those waters and understand the different features that are available and how they could possibly fit into your financial plan to get to where you want to go. And I know you also have a book coming out, From Diapers to Depends. Love the title. And I wondered if you could take a moment and just share a little bit about that.
Well, it's actually titled From Diapers to It Depends, because a lot of people, like, for example, I've gotten phone calls where people said, hey, I got $50,000, Robert, what do you think I should do? Or I came into, this situation, or what do they need to do about every one of their particular circumstances? And the answer is always, it depends. You can't just say, I've got $50,000, what do I do with it? The answer is, where did the money come from? Is it qualified or non-qualified? Is it money that I'm setting up for retirement, or is it money that I want to be able to access later on? So unless they understand what the parameters are, and half of the consumers have no clue, they just came into a sum of money, or maybe they got job transfer, they've got an old 401k, and they don't know what to do with it. But no financial advisor should ever just say, here's what you should do. You've got to look at where the person is first before they can actually start giving them advice, and then what do they want that money to do for them? Those are some of the important questions that people have to have asked of them so they can make these important decisions. So the book was written so that everybody could understand that no matter what the product is, no matter what you want to do, unless you know all the scopes of what's surrounding your life, determines what you should do with it. So the answer to every question is, it depends. Like, for example, if I said, what is provisional income? I would guarantee 99% of the population has no clue what provisional income is. But yet, if you don't know what your provisional income is, you don't understand where your taxes will be when you retire. So understanding those parameters is what's important. So when I'm writing the book, I really want to be a guide for people to say, okay, here's how life insurance is perceived, here's what it can do. Here's what an annuity is, here's what it can do. Here's what health insurance is, but here's what you can do instead. Here is where your college financing should be, and here's where that could be done instead, and where you can maintain control. So there are so many different aspects to a person's financial plan, from how they pay their debt, their credit cards. All of that goes into a person's financial life, and they don't realize no matter what you do in your life, all the things all of our guests talk about today really revolves around the ability to allow those things to happen. And the interesting quote that I will use is Zig Ziglar, who once said, "Money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen." Well, what that means is that you can't do those things. You can't live that life all the time if you don't get yourself right with your money first, because money, and I mean this in a nice sort of a way, is the power to control the rest of your life. It determines where you live, the car you drive, even where you'll be buried.
Yep. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And I appreciate your passion and your conviction and really willing to help demystify this area and empower people. Do you have a target date for when this book will be coming out? I just know people are taking notes and would be interested in knowing.
Well, the goal is to have it out before September, so that it's really going to hit it
it's
for the
coming
Christmas
soon.
time. Yes, so we expect that it'll be complete and hopefully done by the publishers at that point in time, and then we obviously want to go out and promote it. But the goal is to let people understand that this is their guide, this is their financial roadmap, if you will.
Yep. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing and expanding our view on how we're looking at finances and some of the tools and resources that are out there and how important having a plan and a guide is. And I appreciate you being available and willing to support people in this way. So thank you for being part of our show today and sharing. I really appreciate it. We're getting ready to go into our next commercial break. And as we do that, I want to give everybody an opportunity to stop for a moment, pause, and integrate what's being spoken to your heart and spirit. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Think you've seen everything there is to see in online television? Let us surprise you. Visit voiceamerica.tv today for sports, health, business, and more on demand 24/7.
H2 Open Doors is a project of Rotary Clubs worldwide that wants to help the poor help themselves. These are water enterprises run by the people that support the social services of villages and schools. It's a much better way to go than by giving continual and endless donations. Let's support self-reliance and human dignity instead of generational poverty. You can learn more about H2 Open Doors and how to make a difference. Just visit h2opendoors.org. That's H, the number 2, opendoors.org.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Change starts here. Change starts now. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes. You gave yourself an opportunity to stop, pause, and integrate. And as we're coming back together towards the end of our time together, I wanted to give each of our amazing guests an opportunity to share a piece of advice or a reminder with you. So you've got that as you go back out into the world, as we're looking at how to thrive no matter what, to move closer to success in our lives, in our business, step by step, because those baby steps count. So each of our amazing experts, we're going to go around the room and is going to share a piece of advice or a tip or a reminder with you, along with their contact information, because I promised you would get that information as well. So for those guests that you're resonating with, you want to continue the conversation with them, you want to have an opportunity to connect further, we wanted to make sure you were able to access that information, and you'll also find it on our radio show page as well. So with that, Paul, I'd love for you to share a piece of advice or tip as well as your contact information.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rachel. Every day, make it a priority to do something fun, do something that makes you happy, that you enjoy every single day. And you can contact me for additional advice and help at ideserveaperfectlife.com. That is ideserveaperfectlife.com.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful advice and tip, and I'm glad you have a way we can continue that connection. So thank you for sharing. And then Elizabeth, I would love for you to share a tip or piece of advice and how they can contact you as well.
I would like to encourage them to make a plan for whatever obstacle you're coming up against. Sit down, make a plan, write it down, and set a start date. And just take a small step every day to get to where you want to be. And they can find me at elizabethclamon.com. That's CLAMON.com. And you can also email me at elizabeth@elizabethclamon.com. And I'd love to hear from you.
Beautiful. Thank you. We need to have that plan and then take a step. And I want to encourage our listeners to find a step that you can take today. And maybe it's creating that plan and then identifying the step to take tomorrow. That it's so easy to put it on our someday list. And I want to encourage us to take action today. So thank you, Elizabeth, for that beautiful share and letting us know how to stay in touch. And Robert, how can we stay in touch with you, and can you share a piece of advice or tip or reminder with us?
Yeah, I think the most important thing for everybody to recognize is no matter where you are, whether you've achieved great success and you have what you think an abundance of wealth, and you still want a second opinion, or you're not sure if you're getting all of the areas of financial guidance you need, that you take a second look and give somebody that opportunity for that second opinion. And if you're just getting started or you're somewhere struggling in life, it doesn't hurt to get the advice of a professional who's been there, done that, and has that kind of information and insight that can assist you with making the right decision so that, again, you can live the life that, as Paul said, you deserve. So I want to encourage you to do that. My website is financial411.net, and my email is financial411@att.net. And finally, the easiest way to reach me is toll-free at 877-529-6543. That's 877-529-6543. My name is Robert Goldsmith, and I look forward to hearing and working with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for making yourself available in that way to our listeners. What a gift and an opportunity for them to reach out. And I was just thinking as you were sharing, when we're in a place where those dollars are really dear, it's so important that you're making wise decisions, because every dollar matters as you're building your future. So it's an opportunity to get support and help, and especially in those places where it feels a little bit tight, you want to make sure those choices are supporting you. So thank you for making yourself available. I appreciate that. And listeners, I want to thank all of you for being part of our show today, leaning in and exploring how can we create success in your life? How can you lean into those steps, those mindsets, those activities that are going to lead you where you want to go? And I want to encourage you as you get ready to go back out into the world, to take a couple moments after the show and integrate what's being spoken into your heart and spirit. Take a moment to jot down a couple steps that you want to take, and the start date. I love that, Elizabeth, the start date of when to take a step. And with that, as you get ready to go back out in the world, please remember that you are beautifully and wonderfully and powerfully made. For such a time as this, you're absolutely needed just as you are. And that I hope you choose to implement those things that are being laid on your heart and spirit, so that no matter what comes, you can bloom and shine in life. We'll look forward to talking to you next time. Have an amazing week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Influencers Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.